Hi, this is Group Four's Part One, Single Parent Household and How It Affects Family Literacy. I'm Allie or Alexandra Berger.
I'm Lauren Gassett.
Maria Monde.
Stephanie Martinez.
And I'm Kelly Meyer.
Okay, so let's start this with some Section 1 guiding questions. I'm just going to begin with the first one. What have you learned about your literacy issue? And I can go first and then we could just go in order. So what I've learned so far is that some issues I've come across during my research on national literacy programs include affordability, environmental factors, so language barriers and limited literacy exposure, misdiagnosed or undiagnosed learning disabilities that can impact literacy development, the ability to meet every participant's individual needs, and funding. So that one's mine. And then, so Kelly, what about you?
So I've learned that with being in like a single parent household does affect the family literacy by the fact that like single parents don't have a lot of they work most they have to work full time, so they don't have a lot of time for their child's education.
True.
So their education kind of decreases. And so like I've researched where like their test scores and like their academic parts are lower than like a two parent part home. I've researched that and just how single parent homes have doubled. Um, and so I've researched that, and then just also the lack of like I said, the lack of time to be able to spend with their kids because they're working full time, the lack of money because it's just a one parent family home.
Oh,
And then also,
transportation issues too.
yes,
Yeah,
transportation
true. I had
issues.
that popped up on mine.
Exactly.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes
So
total sense.
definitely, yeah. So I definitely learned the impacts of why, there's a struggle there. There's a lack of that family literacy within that single parent home.
That was awesome. And what about you, Lauren?
I have more information on the second question. I
Sure.
have
Sure. Do you want to
the,
answer? So how does your literacy issue affect family literacy?
yes,
Want to start with that one?
perfect. I'll start with that one. So some research that I found, very summarized, is some issues that affect single parent households is just limited time and resources available for educational activities and support. Sometimes, single parents have a full-time job, they get home, they have to cook dinner, give them a bath, and that cuts literacy time. And then the absence of a second parent can result in increased responsibilities and time constraints on the single parent with the child, and that reduces abilities to engage in readings, and it may be helping with homeworks because we all have lives. So
I totally agree with that too, because it's like,
Yeah.
how can you create like foundational, like how can you create connections with your child if you're constantly having to move and work and run and stuff?
exactly, you're
So
doing
like,
it
where's
all.
the time? Yeah. And it's like the child now takes up that role that of their own, like almost teaching themselves, basically.
Exactly, they have to kind of teach themselves. So
I totally
those are
agree with that.
definitely some issues. Yeah.
No, that's a point I didn't have on mine. I totally agree with that one. For the second question, Jindaya, do you want to answer as well if you have it? If not, it's okay.
I'm still researching, but from what I saw is that it's getting common for single parenting. So it's hard and internationally also, not only in the US but everywhere. That's kind of hard. Let's say one parent has, it's only one parent. Mom has to work two jobs, or if dad has custody, dad has to work two jobs, so there's never really nobody there.
Yeah.
take care of the child. And, grandparents might do it and they might not do it.
I have a quick question. So like, do you guys remember like our last assignment about like fathers? Like
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
parent?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you know how they're saying it's a US epidemic, like a United States thing? Do you think, Jendaya, do you think it's international too? Do you think it's
I
because
don't think
more-
to me, I think it's an international thing, not only based in the US, because I have friends who live in Europe who tell me that, hey, they're single parents, this is how they struggle, or they've noticed, because they're teachers over there too, and they noticed how everything is kind of similar, but yet different.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
think it's like the cultural aspect. I think here, I mean, in like America, maybe we see it as more of a norm, like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
societal norm versus like for just a father or a mother parent household versus like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not sure. I've never left the
Because to
country.
me, it's like anywhere you go, you're gonna see it. You're gonna either see a single mother with her kid, or a
Yeah.
single father with his kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And
There's
it
them
does make a difference too on their education. I'm sorry. On that single parent's education as well. Because I researched
Agreed.
that too.
Completely.
If that single parent has a reading level not beyond like an eighth grade level, it said that, their child is more likely to struggle. Whereas a parent that it has more education and has
exactly.
they have that, they're going to be a little bit more successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
It's like
like
a cycle.
But then it
oh,
comes down
sorry.
to us, the teachers, to help that child, since the parents cannot do it themselves, and then it puts more stress on us as educators
Exactly.
to try
That's
to
true.
Exactly. Yes.
be like, let's say I have like 15 kids. I can't just do one-on-one with one specific child and then lose my mind trying to watch the other kids
Nor
playing
should that
Tetris.
be, nor should that, I mean, my personal opinion, nor should that be your full-on responsibility as an educator to do that
Exactly.
when it comes to family literacy,
Exactly.
Yes. I have
Yeah.
another more comment for to be locally because I had the local part of it. I had researched that the Florida House Speaker, his name is Chris Sparles. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he said that that Florida is the third highest percentage of adults lacking basic literacy skills. I
Wow.
was like,
Wow.
holy
That's
cow!
crazy. I didn't know
Interesting.
that.
I
Parent
didn't
doesn't
know
have
that
the
either.
skills, then these
Wow.
kids, like, how do they have that hope,
No,
No,
exactly.
but the thing is that with this generation, it's the tablet. The parents don't really sit down with their kids to teach them. Because
Exactly.
you can tell which parents actually take the time with their kids
Yes.
and
Exactly.
which parents don't. Because I've noticed, parents coming in on their phones, walking out on their phones, not even asking their child, hey, how was your day? What did you learn today?
Yes.
Agreed.
Or they tell you that they're gonna talk to their child, but I'm pretty sure once you get to the car, they have a tablet in the back seat waiting for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's our COVID babies, like
Yeah.
been into schooling now and just from like a weird time period where it's like now they have to socialize and interact, and it's because even I still have my own like not issues, just I feel like 2020 2021 like wasn't real or something, and it's like I'm still coming out of that bubble.
Yes.
Okay, let's move
Yeah.
on to the next question. So, who are the stakeholders pertaining to your family literacy issue and describe their different perspectives? Whoever would like to share. I know Stephanie hasn't yet. If she'd like to
I'm
share.
still confused at that question. Is it like based on like the
I
teachers,
have
the
some
parents?
things.
Okay, and
So
you're on an international, right? The
Yeah.
international level.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, let's think about like who is affected. Not only, obviously, the child is affected in a single parent household. The children themselves are a stakeholder. The decisions of the parents and their actions can impact the kid. Sometimes even I found an interesting article that mentioned also employers of single parents are stakeholders because sometimes
Mm,
the parent might need to adjust their schedule, their work schedule. Sometimes they say, hey, I can't come in today because my kid got sick. I have no one else to take care of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
even employers can be stakeholders.
Oh, yeah, and then
Um,
finances too, because then it's like, are you gonna get paid for
exactly.
that day? Yeah, that's true. It's just a cycle. That's how I feel like it. It's just like this like circle.
And you
Yeah,
make a great
it's
point.
just
I researched, I see not only what you're saying, I saw also grandparents, because if they're
Ooh,
single parents, they have to rely on, if they have grandparents, a lot of them have taken over that role as well to help out,
ooh,
you
yeah.
know.
Exactly.
And that's, I think, can I share for my
of
stakeholders?
course.
So what I have is the stakeholders on a national level. This is where I got a little confused because it's like, where's the difference between local versus
Yeah.
national? So what I have is school and district staff,
Mm.
the local school staff, parents slash guardians, student, children, the community, partnerships among the community, and donators to a variety of fundraisers for national literacy programs. And then specifics of that are just depending on the actual program. So like I have, for example, one of mine is ABC Connect for Learning, which is a digital resource for adults, not children. But the benefit of that is the adults can learn on their break at work. They can learn on their own. And then that also not only helps them, it helps create more connections at home. So
Mm.
that's just one of like the four that I listed for how it benefits or impacts their literacy personally.
Mm.
And that's all I've got for that question. If anyone else wants to share, Stephanie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm doing international, so I was doing from Peru since my mother's from there. Because I
Oh,
was
okay.
interested interested about it. There was one that I chose was the child care assistant program that is new now, because usually, because Peru, they call it like as a poor country, they never had that kind of assistant program. So now it's like it's new. So they use it for to help single parents, like because usually back in the days they had kids working, so they didn't
Oh,
have
wow.
like
Yeah.
education. Yeah, like when I interviewed my mother and asked her about how it was her childhood, she had to work. She couldn't go to school because it was just her and her mom. So they're trying to stop that from happening right now. So they decided to open a program for childcare, like help out single parents for not to worry about like financial wise so the kids could go to school and get more education
Yeah.
versus working.
Yeah. Your mom sounds awesome, by the way. I hope she's able to be I hope you get to interview her for the part 2 as well, because I think it's just so different, like the cultural differences between
Yeah.
America and Peru, just totally
And
different.
everything that she probably went through
Oh
and
yeah,
all of that
Yeah.
too. So
absolutely. And
Yes,
she's
thank you.
killing it. Yeah. So I'm gonna move on to the fourth question. What are the family literacy programs currently in place for your topic? If anyone would like to begin. Lauren, Stephanie, Jendaya, Kelly, or I could share. Up to you guys.
Well, I'll go ahead and do it. I've researched some things that we have here locally, in Florida, where I live, which I live near like Volusia County.
Oh, okay.
So I found it interesting that there was actually several programs for like the parents that for adults, to
Mhm.
get like tutoring and learning that English and math and all of that. And then also learning how to find a job, and like if they needed to get a GED, like helping them work, to that. I found several. And one of them it's called Volusia Literacy Council, and it's really big here, and it offers all of that. It helps them get back like in the workplace, and just a lot of tutoring in those literacy skills. So that then they have programs where then they give like these it's called pack kits, and it's parents and children together is what it's called. And they're like kits they send home to like reinforce the literacy at home, and books and like different things they can do at home. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then like for the kids, they have like this thing called with the United Way, it's called Reading Pals that they have
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah. I feel like I know that because
Okay.
I'm from Jupiter, Florida.
Okay.
And I feel like that, I don't know if it's exactly that, but something very similar where it's like you have an older person read with you, like a reading buddy, right? Kind of.
So awesome because it's like a mentors. You can volunteer to be mentors to these students. So you're not only teaching them literacy, but you're also building that relationship that maybe that single parent might not, to
Oh,
feel.
I love that.
um,
Yeah.
That is
I just
awesome.
that's so important. And my last, I have a couple, but last more that I'll share is like even the library does like these. It's called Lit Kit to Go, and
Like,
it can like books, activities, other like educational activities in there. And they're filled every week, and they can come pick it up every week, and it's like through fifth grade and under. And it's all at the local libraries here. So I thought that was pretty cool too, like getting it to get home, to make sure it gets in the home. Because some parents can't like, take their kids to a program
yeah.
or, so I thought those were kind of cool.
I think that's awesome that you have, I feel like it's that you definitely have the most like intimate like category of the literacy like programs because like local, like you really get to see in your personal area and how it affects like children and families.
Definitely.
I can share a couple of mine. So what are the family literacy? So currently in place, like I shared the ABC Connect for Learning. I'm gonna call it a family literacy program because if the adult learns, then the child will learn too, right?
Yeah.
Because it creates those connections. I have Room to Read, which is a nonprofit global organization that works with local communities to increase literacy skills and gender equality. So I'd be interested to see if it also the Room to Read is available in Kelly's region because it says it's like
So look at it.
like global. I have Everybody Wins, which is a reading program that helps students develop social and emotional skills as well as literacy skills that are necessary for successful futures. And then I have two more, I'm sorry. Barbara Bush Foundation for Family Literacy. See, like I would consider Barbara Bush, I guess, a stakeholder because she put in that money for a foundation, right? On a
That's
national
true.
level. And
Yes.
I didn't know how to word that. So that's just kind of answering both. Then her foundation aims to give adults free resources and education access to help increase their literacy skills. And then the
Yeah.
World Literacy Foundation aims to provide children with educational books and resources so that they discover the joy of reading and learning. So it's less about like dynamics between family and more about instilling like in children the fun of reading. And that is mine. And if you guys want, we can move to section 2 because I'm not sure how many minutes we have for my
Yeah, I
recording
was
so
about
far.
to say
I have
too.
no idea. I don't even know how to check. So
I don't
I'm
either.
thinking we just go for it.
All right.
Then Kelly, if you want to start off
Yeah.
section 2.
Yeah. So section 2, the question is, how do these programs meet the needs of your stakeholders? So for me, it meets the needs because like the adult, program, it's tutoring them, it's getting them, their goal is to get them to a reading level that is beyond 8th grade, so they can go home and really be able to give back to their children and have that education that they need, and get back into the workplace if they need it, or get a GED, life skills. So all of it is just going to benefit the kids, the family environment, will be benefited there. Um, and so for the children's, programs, I feel like it benefits them because they're getting that foundation that they so need, and they're going to be able to be successful, later in life, for their academic future too. So that's kind of my answer to that one.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. So anybody else have thoughts on theirs on how
I
needs?
I have one for how they don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'd say is maybe some of these programs may not be adequate for like kids with disabilities. Like me personally, I work with kids with autism and the autism spectrum, and they don't learn all in like a one size fits all kind of thing,
Agreed.
right? So
Yeah.
some of these programs may not be so efficient for every child out there.
Yes.
So I
Absolutely.
think that's one big one, especially for me personally, working with these kids so closely every day. They learn so much differently. It's pretty interesting. So
And then the
Yeah.
I'd say,
affordability aspect of that, like if we're taking into account like a single household environment, like on a one parent budget, like, and it can cost, I mean, I don't work with children with autism or disabilities, but I think that probably that expense is
yes,
probably a lot bigger than like a child that is just learning at a, I don't know what the word, at a
the
general
appropriate age level.
education, yeah,
Yeah.
general education level versus a child with autism and let's say other disabilities. Like imagine those expenses and now you need
Mhm.
additional resources. Plus,
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
so I totally agree with you.
Definitely. I know for me, one of mine was that didn't meet the needs I was thinking about is that a lot of the programs are very broad.
I
where they
agree. I said that in mine
Yes.
too. 'Cause
Yeah. So it'd be nice just to have that single parent household program, either for the dad, have one something for dads, have one
Mm,
I
because it's
think,
all, they struggle with different
sorry.
things, and they
I
have different.
think, I'm so sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're
Go ahead.
no, I'm done. Yeah, go ahead. You're
I
fine.
think the pluses also are the minuses, like a lot of them, because it's great that it's like you just brought up like a great point that I started and then I didn't know how to word it,
Yeah.
like the strengths, um like the strengths of these programs are also its weaknesses. Like the broadness of it engages more people and adds more people to it, but then without like specifications for
mhm.
individuals, that's what creates the problem. And I just, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just totally agree.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
for the question one, for how do they meet the needs, I brought up the World Literacy Foundation and how it meets the needs of young people in general, because it doesn't specify necessarily children or adults, just young people. So that can mean a teen parent, that can mean a young adult, I mean, I guess 18, that could mean a little child. And I think that broadness of it is also its weakness. So I just wanted to bring that in because I agree completely with that sentiment. I think that's interesting.
Does anybody else want to share about the needs or not meeting the needs? Or we can.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Go
Well, for not needs, I found a lot like for Peru, for example. Well, there's one which is mainly like financial, for education for the students. Well, for the children, for example, like there's one program that they had like created for it's called Aprendo Contigo. Um, so what they do is they have like a own donation like in the hospital. They like ask they have like a website where people could just donate like resources, materials, educational like technology programs and things like that for the single parents
Hmm,
Wow.
for
that's
their
awesome.
children. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
I'm
great.
doing the International Bell Friends, and from an article that I read, is that they do digital literacy too.
Mhm.
So, which means the programs that they do at school, the parents can also do them at home with the kids.
Yes, that's awesome. That's a great point. Definitely.
So not
Okay.
only are you're giving, but you're giving in a way that, hey, your child's on the tablet anyways, just put this program on so that they can
Exactly.
practice at home.
Yeah, and it's still getting in the home. Literacy is then getting in the home, and like you said, instead of looking
Yeah.
at this video that is, they're
But
able to.
remember, like back in the day, the program Leapfrog that we
Yeah.
had?
Oh, I
Yes.
Like
Oh,
you,
I loved
yes.
you
my,
take the pen and you
that was
put on
awesome.
every letter, and it tells you, and then you're learning it because, even though you're not around your parents, you're still learning because you're taking a little magical pen, sticking on
Yeah.
every little word,
It's
and
true.
practicing saying the word.
It's true. And I remember actually learning stuff on my Leapfrog. I think it's just
So,
like taking away all the extras. Like I have my Kindle. I love my Kindle because it doesn't have all the other apps and stuff. It's just a Kindle
exactly,
with the book.
Mm.
Like that's it.
exactly,
You just have to
exactly.
make it so you get rid of all the
Distraction.
yeah, because I'm one of those people too. I even have I'm an adult and I have a very hard time just watching a show. Like I just want to scroll, and it's just
Yeah.
like I feel like
But
ingrained.
what also helps is the audio stories. They'll sit
Oh
there and they'll
yeah,
listen
I
to
like
it.
those. I like
Then,
that too.
since kids like to pick up things quickly, they'll know the story that they read or they heard.
Yeah, or making it like a game too. Yeah, you're right. That's
Do
totally.
like a puppet show or something with them.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. I love that. Well, our last question is based on your research, what are some of the needs that you'll address in your ideal family literacy program that you want to create? Does anybody have any thoughts or ideas?
I would say trying to have families spend more time with their kids,
Yes.
which is
Mhm.
that's more impactful than them sitting on a tablet.
Yes.
It's not only, over there overseas, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would put is just trying to have this open communication with parents, let them know, hey, you can do this to spend more time with your kid, or explain
Yes.
to them that so and so is delayed in this. If you can work with them on this so that they can further with the other children.
Yes.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Some needs that I want to address for on the national level of literacy programs are less about the like I want to focus less about county to county and state to state and more about the overall need and awareness for people to have access to these programs because and also the affordability. Like I think that's a huge
Exactly.
Yeah.
aspect. If you said we're number 3, I wonder what state's number 1,
Right.
So I think it's on a national level. I think it's also talking, I don't want to even talk politics, but I think they have to be involved, right? Because if you're
If
if
they're
you're
not involved, everything would have been like
well,
easy.
yeah, they are to some degree, same with
Yeah.
government on an I'm saying like in a national
No,
level.
no, no, yeah.
They have to be because it's like you're now signing someone in that can make those decisions. So I think it's also just the transparency of the people we are putting in power of education and school
Yeah.
board power and House of Representatives and
Exactly.
how they can help the needs of children and families, single families literacy and how we can create
But to do that too, that's like it's not only with the families because it falls upon teachers too to help those families.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that I think that's
Mhm.
this is my personal opinion, but I think
Yeah.
that I think it's a teacher's role to an extent, and 'cause I'm not a teacher yet, I'm in the middle of my degree. I
Yeah.
don't believe it's the teacher's job. I don't think it should
It's not, it's a parent's job, but the
I
thing
think it
is
should be a
what yeah.
collaboration. That's
But a
why
lot of the time the parents don't really do anything and it falls upon us and then that causes us to stress out.
I think that's why a lot of people don't
Yeah.
become teachers too, because of that worry.
Yeah,
Like I have had people talk
exactly.
to me about that stuff. Like, are you prepared to, you know, basically like do this for these kids? And yes, I am, but I think the parents also, a single parent, I understand and have empathy, but I think it's providing those resources and classes to them that will make
Yeah,
wild difference in their participation on all
exactly.
levels, international, national, locally.
Yeah. I know
Mm-hmm.
here I'm like, how can I get these single parents who are tired, who work full time?
Of course, yeah.
They're not gonna want to take their kids to a literacy program or to the library, or they're not gonna want to go themselves. So how do I my need, or I would like to figure out is like, how do I encourage, how do I get
Maybe
literacy and
like an after school program where you can
Make,
stay extra, but with some of the kids and teach them.
make it a more like packed, like
Yeah.
parent and child time.
Yeah.
Make it engage. I don't know. I think this is stuff that like Kelly brought up a great point. Like that's stuff that I feel like educators go through all the time, especially early childhood educators, because it's like
Yeah.
that's they're like growing like as we speak, versus like high
Yeah.
school is a little more like specific. Like a math teacher has different needs for the parents of their students than like a English teacher, you know.
I
So
would think in like a mobile literacy bus, that goes,
From house
that
to house.
oh, I love that. That's great.
That'd be really cute.
or their block of their, and you would
Yeah.
hit those, and the kids can come and go to, either get books or get literacy packs, and it's, then they're gonna
Exactly.
go home
That's awesome. I love that.
That's a
something.
great idea.
Yeah.
It could
Cool.
almost be like even like we were talking about, like Jinda's was talking about how like digital everything is now and stuff, and how the iPads. I mean,
Ali, I hate to cut you off, but it says we have 3 minutes left.
oh, okay.
Mm.
Let's end it, okay?
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you for the
Bye.
reminder, Lauren. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm
Have
gonna
a great
All right.
I'm gonna save it and then send it in, okay? That was a
All
great
right.
thing, guys.
night.
Thank you.
All right.
Right,
Bye.
thank you.
Bye.
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 Um